What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Super excited today to introduce Simeon to the channel. He actually discovered digital marketing a few years ago while watching the channel, while watching a testimonial, just like you're doing right now. And at first, he was a young guy. He was actually in high school. He decided to jump into digital marketing and give it a try. And now he's on the channel. So he's basically come full circle. So, Simeon, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Awesome, awesome. So let's go back to the beginning. I just want to talk about your origin story. So, all the way back to the beginning, before you discovered digital marketing, right? Before you discovered Seth, before you discovered maybe even my channel, where were you at? I think you told me you were actually still in high school when you first discovered it, I believe. So, where were you at? What was your work experience? Did you ever have a job at that point? What were your plans? Were you planning on going to college? All that kind of thing. Just take me back to your mindset at that point.
Gotcha. So basically, this all started back junior year of high school, around 2020, right before COVID happened. This is around the time where I was a very athletic kid back in high school. Did a lot of sports, swimming, basketball, all that jazz. So I was very active in school.
Mhm.
Basically, long story short, towards the end of school, I started to do more research about what I wanted to do after high school. And this is like right before COVID happened and everything. And then,
Mhm.
going through videos, I found your channel and everything, and I found a video talking about like, oh, the top 10 engineering degrees that are the best. And I kept looking at those videos, and then I came across like the top 10 careers or something like that. And then digital marketing came up. And I was very like intrigued by that because I never heard of that field, but like the way you were describing it, how you were very like passionate and very like, oh, this is one of the best careers out here growing right now. I was very curious about that. So I decided to do more research going like towards the end of my junior year. Then COVID happened. So I kind of like fell off from there. Fast forward all the way to my senior year of high school. I kind of started to do more research about it because I was going to graduate high school. I did have an academic scholarship for a college nearby. So basically, I was already kind of leaning towards going to college and everything. But like this field, this career was always in the back of my head. Always, like I always wanted to just give it a try, go into it and try and get something out of it, long story short. So after I graduated high school and everything, I ended up getting a job, starting school and everything. And from the moment I started school, I could just tell like college just like I was going through the motions, it felt like
Mhm.
I felt like what I was learning and I was what was being taught to me, cool and everything, but it wasn't valuable. Like I felt like how am I going to use this in the real world? Like I'm not
Mhm.
really, I feel like I was just wasting time in a sense,
Mhm.
So like by this time, I discovered Seth's course and I started watching Seth's testimonials. And basically, when I was watching his testimonials, I felt like everything I felt, everybody else was saying about college. Like, they felt like, they weren't learning anything, blah, 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 blah. So I was just like, why don't I just like give it a shot? Why don't I just
Mhm.
buy the course and go through his program and see how it goes and everything. Then from there, basically, I started to talk about it with my dad, and my parents. They're a little skeptical at first. So that because they were skeptical, the process of going into the course delayed, which basically led me to get another job. I started working at Target. Then finally, after like this is like all like a 2 year span. Keep in mind, I was like started from high school, 18, and I'm probably like just turning 20 at this time. Basically, around that time, I saved up enough money and then I decided to make the deal with my dad. I was just like, hey, like I'm really passionate about this. I really want to give this a try. I feel like I'm not really learning anything valuable in college at the moment. I already took like, by this time I took like a kind of like a break of the semester. So like I was already like not doing much college at that time. And my
Mhm.
dad, me and him made an agreement that he would pay for half and I would pay for half, and then we would just go through with it. And from there, I went through the course and it was more than I could have imagined. I
That's
learned so
awesome.
yeah, I learned so much.
That's
And
awesome.
I was of course fearful, when it came to like the interview process with companies and everything, because I was just like, Seth talks about this all the time, imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
Like when I was learning about all this stuff, I was just like, dang, this makes sense to me. But like if I would talk about this with other people, I was just like, dang, like Am I making sense to them? Do they understand me? Because 9 times out of 10, nobody understood what I was saying. So what really helped me is that I met these two guys in Seth's course and everything. They're alumni. They passed and got jobs and everything. One of their names, they told me, I asked them if I could shout them out. One of their names is Leon Luna, and the other one's Muhammad. I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to try and pronounce his last names, but his name's Muhammad. Basically, they really helped me out, just like guiding me through the course, and they allowed me to shadow them and their clientele just to see like how Google Ads really works and everything, blah 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 blah, and how an interview process is supposed to work. And
Mm.
soon after that, I ended up getting interviews. I think I went through about. Honestly, I had so many rejections, and like I think I went through like 8 to 9 interviews. And like once I got to that last interview, I was just like, dang, like is this like I've been rejected so many times, you know, like of course it's only been like 2 months of me applying at that time.
Mm.
And I've been rejected like 50 times, not more than 50 times. And I was just like, dang, like does any of these people want to hire me? Like, are my
Mm.
skills like up to par? And then finally, at the my very last application I sent, basically the manager reached out, and I had an interview with the main digital marketing director instead of the HR lady at first. So it's kind
Mm.
of usually how my interviews were was with the HR lady, then the digital director or
Mm.
something like that. Basically, it was opposite. And we had a really good interview. And then the HR lady called me like 3 days later, and she was like, we really like you, and all we're looking is for somebody who just truly just wants to learn and grow. And if you're open-minded and you're not afraid to mess up, our digital manager can teach you everything else. And I was like, yep, 100%. And that's how I got the job and everything.
That's
So
perfect. That's perfect. That's awesome. Okay, so
yeah.
a few things there. I actually had a few questions for you because that was first of all, it's an amazing story. It's incredible. So did you land your first job at 19? Was that the exact age you landed it?
So I just turned 20.
Okay.
Basically, I was going through the course and I turned 19, and going through the course took about like 5 months or so. So by the time I got my job, it was February of the following year. So I was 20, and 2 months later, I turned 21.
Gotcha. Okay. And I know you said that part about college. I'm curious, were you going to college during that time where everything was remote?
Yeah. So
Oh,
basically, well, it was a year after that as well. So
okay.
basically, everything was still like COVID. Oh, like you got to wear masks sometimes in certain areas. Blah 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 blah. So it wasn't like necessarily fully remote, but like the school had the option to be remote. Like if you want to
Mm.
stay home and do classes and everything, like they gave that option. But like I was going to school directly, going to classes and everything. And then when I started the course, like, and that's when I started dialing in school, I decided to just start taking classes online because I was just like, I want to focus on this course. I want to just like learn as much as I can, get this done as fast as possible, and see what this takes me. Like, I didn't want to waste time.
Yeah, I mean, I kept on getting comments on my channel and emails from people during that time. They were just like, I can't believe I'm paying $20,000 a year to attend Zoom classes. You know what I mean? Like, because the course, you get Zoom classes on the course, and it's definitely not $20,000.
Yeah,
It's like couple, a few $100 or what, $800 or something. So yeah, it's like that's a crazy amount of money, especially over
yeah,
4 years for Zoom classes. So yeah, I felt really bad for people who went through high school and college during that time because they kind of missed out on a lot of good experiences. Okay, cool. So, it took you about, you said like 5 or 6 months or so to land that first job. Do you remember approximately how many total applications you sent out?
Okay, so in Seth's course, he talks about like towards the end of it, like once you get through everything and he gets to like it's past like it's like basically towards the end, he talks about how like you want to make every application specific to the job that you're applying for. As in you're looking at the website, if it's a law office, or if it's about attorneys or it's about a hospital or cars or whatever the case may be, whatever the agency or place you're applying for is about, you want to lean your what's it called resume towards that. For me, at first, the first month, I was just throwing applications out because I was just like, I want to leave Target so bad. Like, I don't want to work here anymore. And I just want to get into this field. And it didn't work out because, like, like Seth said, like you gotta be like, basically, he kept saying, you gotta do everything his way. Like, be specific on the things that he's teaching because there's a purpose to what he's teaching. So, like, probably after like a month, I was just like, you know what, let me stop being lazy. Well, let me, just like start making my resumes more specific.
Mhm.
And like I started reaching out to people. He told us in the course that there was, I forget her name, but there was a lady in the course that he wanted us to direct our resumes to, and she would help fix them and everything. And she helped a lot. She basically like redid my entire resume, told me what should be there, what should not be there. She said like, don't worry about like your past job experience. Just put your digital marketing experience down. And yeah, like once I started doing that, I started to get more like responses, like not resumes, interviews, like phone interviews, Zoom interviews, stuff like that. So, and then like soon after, that's when I got this interview. So, or the interview
Got
with
it.
my from.
Got it. Awesome. Okay. And then so you got that interview. So you don't remember exactly how many applications you sent out or even a
Oh,
approximation of how many?
sorry, I was talking too much.
Okay.
But I was probably like, I would say estimately like probably 150. Keep in
Okay.
mind, the first 100 probably bad, all
Mhm.
bad. Then like the last 50 were like strictly like specific to the core, and then like I got like 10 to 15 interviews from those. So
Okay.
the ratio is better. Like if you only look at the 50.
So the first 100, you probably didn't get very many interviews at
Yeah.
all from that. Okay. And then once you did it, the way Seth said, like you got about 15 or so, and then the very
Yeah.
last one ended up being a winner. Okay. Got you. Okay. So how was the course like in general? Like what was your experience with the course? What was your experience with the community? What was your experience with the lives, because you get the live training and stuff. It's really more of a coaching program than a course, but he calls it a course. But what was your experience like with it?
Um, it was on like it's very, very helpful and very like basically since I didn't know about digital marketing, like like of course like I knew what it was about, but like I didn't know like the basics and everything. It's very, very good at like teaching what you need to know, what the interviewers for the people who are interviewing you, what they want to hear and everything, so you can get the job. It's very good at like teaching the basics of Google Ads, Facebook ads, SEO. It's not like, of course, like at first it was very overwhelming because like it's a lot of information.
Mhm.
And there was a point in time where I was just like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to process this because like this is a whole different language, you
Mhm.
know. But Seth preaches like, it's all about learning the language, knowing the language. Once you can speak the
Mhm.
language and everything, then the sky's the limit from there, you know. So like
Mhm.
after I remember like the first half a month, like when I bought the course, that first month and a half or so, like I wasn't going too as hard as I could at the course. So like nothing like things were like things were coming to me, but not as well as they could have.
Mhm.
But when I started focusing on the course and zoning in and just doing parts of it every single day, that's when like stuff started coming to me more. I started understanding certain aspects of Google Ads better, match types, especially when it came to there's a part when it talks about generating your own experience and you build your own website. And he has a practice spreadsheet, a PPC spreadsheet to teach you about account structure and everything. Once I started doing those things, everything started coming to me.
That's awesome. Okay. Great. So how about the money? Because I know people are wondering that, right? Let's talk about the money. That's what everyone's wondering. So you're just turned 20 years old. Your first kind of like real job, so to speak, right? Uh
Yeah.
how much were you getting paid right off the bat for an entry level job like that?
Basically, the salary or the money that they offered me was 50K plus bonuses at the end of the year. They weren't, I'm not sure how much the bonuses are, but the base salary is 50K, which for me is like surreal because I'm coming from working at a movie theater in Target, a movie theater that
Mhm.
paid me $9 an hour to grow up in. It was bad. I can talk about the movie theater all day. And then Target, they paid me $15 an hour or so, but the work that I had to do at Target was just crazy, crazy stuff.
Mhm.
So being able to be I'm 21 now, but getting a job at 20 and being more financially independent, being able to do things that I wasn't necessarily able to do comfortably before, it's just surreal. Like
Mhm.
this is like where I wanted to be. This is what like I envisioned when I was watching the testimonials and, you know, just being motivated by other people's stories and everything. And I just wanted to, be in that situation for myself. So it's a very surreal thing.
That's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So let's see. 50K right off the bat. All your friends, or not all your friends, but a lot of your friends probably went to college. So they're going to be graduating in probably about 2 years from now, something like that, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And by then you might have hit six figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to graduate. They're going to get a 50K job because that's about what everybody makes right after college, probably about
Yeah.
50K or so. And then by then you might have even hit six figures. Maybe like you missed, maybe you're like 90K, right? So something like that. But you're probably pretty close to six figures by then. So
Yeah.
that's
That's the
that's pretty
goal.
good. That's a pretty good deal, right? And and you're not like $100,000 in student loan debt on top of it.
Exactly.
So
That's the that's the main thing. Like, and that's of course, like I was blessed enough to have the opportunity to be on scholarship when I did go to college and
hmm,
everything. But like that's the one thing that bothered me. Like if I wasn't, and I had to pay out of pocket and all this jazz, right? Like, why am I paying $15,000 a semester, you know? And if I was out of state tuition, even more
hmm,
to go to school to learn not really anything practical,
hmm,
just like basically it felt like I was going through high school again, my first year and a half of college and everything. And like doing all the prerequisites and everything, I was just like, why am I doing this?
hmm,
Like it just didn't make sense to me whatsoever. And I'm a big believer in like learning a skill. And if you're not gonna go to college to be an engineer, nurse, lawyer, one of like those big jobs out there, then they just learn a skill of some sort. So
Yeah, and the thing about learning a skill, kind of like you said, is there's only one way to learn it, which is to be in the trenches. You just have to do
yeah,
it, right? So
exactly.
that's the beauty of digital marketing is the barrier to entry is not very high. Anyone can start a Google Ads account and just starts, put $50 in it and just start running Google Ads. In fact, I think they
Yeah.
give you $500 for free a lot of the time when you start the Google Ads account. So
Yeah.
yeah, anyone can just start it and just start doing it. And by the way, guys, if you guys are confused about some of the terminology we're using here, pay-per-click, Google Ads, all these digital marketing things, Seth does actually have a free training which will go over the four main digital marketing careers that he recommends, as well as all the terminology, tell you if digital marketing is good for you or not, and just give you an overview of exactly how you can get into digital marketing. And that free training will be down in the description in the pinned comment below. So definitely check that out. So let's talk about job satisfaction.
Mhm.
So you worked at Target before, you worked at a movie theater, and then you've got this digital marketing job. Tell me about the job satisfaction with the digital marketing job versus Target or the movie theater.
Yeah, well, I have the best manager ever, like at this job right now. She is the most supportive person, and like my all my other coworkers, they're the most supportive people like out there. Like from the jump, when I got the job first day, she was like, if you have any questions, anything you want to know, if you mess up, I do not care. Like I just want you, like I want to teach you everything that I know so you can be in a better situation. And once I heard that, I was just like, dang, like I thought like I was about to get fired for something like for messing up because like I was overthinking that when like my first few days working and everything. But job satisfaction wise, like I couldn't, words aren't enough to describe how like happy I am with this job. Work-life balance, absolutely amazing. My manager, she doesn't micromanage anything. So she's not like on us 24/7. It's more like of a trusting, like, if the work is done and everything is good, then, everything's good on her end. So
Hmm.
compared to like at the movie theater where I'm just like in the concession stand, big movie came out, bunch of screaming in the lobby. Everybody wants popcorn. So I'm running back and forth, sweating like popcorn all over me. Yeah. And,
Man.
and at Target, even worse, just like at points in time, like there would be like five people who would call out. So like I'm doing everything in their jobs on top of my job. So it would suck. It would suck working at those other two places. But Ever since I started working at this agency, it's been the best thing I can ever ask for.
Yeah, there's this saying, and I think it's true for the most part. I mean, maybe it's not all the way true, but basically, you don't get paid for how good you are. You get paid for how easy you are to replace, right?
Yeah.
And so when you have in-demand skills, when you have digital marketing skills, um, you're not easy to replace because it's an in-demand skill. Whereas if you're working at a retail or at a movie theater, a lot of people could do that job. So it's just like really easy to replace you. So you're probably not going to get paid as well. And even more than that, they're going to make you do way more work. The job satisfaction is not going to be good. They're not really going to care about your opinion, et cetera, et cetera. That's just generally speaking how it works. Now, of course, there's exceptions here and there. You might have like an exceptionally good manager once in a
Yeah.
while in those positions, but yeah, for the most part, like retail and like movie theaters and stuff like that, just because you're replaceable, they're just not going to treat you that well. But when you have an in-demand skill, when you have digital marketing skills, you're not replaceable. It's not easy to replace you. So they're going to treat you well. They're going to nurture you. They're going to teach you. They're going to, try to build you up into being an amazing employee because it's not easy to find people that have these skills. And that's why it's an
Yeah.
in-demand skill. It's just that simple. So that's what I always like to tell people. So let's see. Next, is there any like personality characteristics that you think make good digital marketers, or does it not really matter?
I feel like, like I mean, for me, I'm more on the outgoing side of things. Like I've seen like people comment on certain videos like, "Oh, are introverts good for this job and everything?" And I feel like as long as you're confident in yourself and like of course like, I feel like everybody's like shy in some way, shape, or form, small or big. But I feel like the biggest thing you need to have is confidence. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you. If you don't believe that you can say the things that you need to say, or you feel like you're speaking gibberish, then of course you're going to not do as well as you think you're going to do. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
like all set on like I can do this. I'm confident in myself. Like, who cares if I'm getting rejected multiple times? Who cares? If this job rejected me multiple times. Like, who cares? It's more the most important thing is confidence over anything. Because if you're confident in yourself, then everything else will build off of that. You'll be more energetic. You'll be more set in stone on just driving these points during the interview process. And yeah, so I just really feel like confidence is the biggest thing rather than like if someone's more introverted or someone's
Mm-hmm.
more outgoing. Of course, like it may be easier for somebody who's more outgoing to be more confident in themselves, because
Mm-hmm.
like, being more outgoing, you're just more outspoken. But I just personally feel like confidence is the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point because I think a lot of people kind of like you said get imposter syndrome and they'll see the job postings and it'll say, "Oh, we prefer somebody who has, 1 to 2 years of experience," but you can just ignore that and apply anyways and it doesn't really matter, right? But a lot of people don't realize that. They're like, "Oh, no, I'm not good enough because everyone that applies is going to have years of experience." And yeah, no, just apply, guys. Just have confidence in yourself. Like just know that if you put your mind to it, you can learn the skills, right? You can absolutely learn the skills quickly and you can do the job. It's not impossible to do the job. I mean, tons of people do it. It takes a little bit to learn the skills, but once you learn the skills, you can do the job. It's just that simple. We're all cut from the same cloth at the end of the day. So awesome. So what would you say to somebody who is kind of on the fence about jumping into the coaching program, the course? They're watching these testimonials, they're thinking about digital marketing. They're like, man, I think digital marketing would be awesome, but they're on the fence about it. They're not quite sure if they're going to do it. What would you say to that person?
I would say, like just wing it, I feel like the best thing I've ever done, was just going through with it because like I went through, COVID, then getting multiple jobs and everything, going back and starting school, going kind of like back and forth. Should I start it? Should I not? You know, and there could have been I possibly could have started even earlier, if I was more, set forth on that path and everything. But I would just say just go through with it and believe in yourself, because like I said earlier, if nobody else believes in you, you gotta believe in yourself, because Like there was, when I was going through the course, there was some skepticism. There was some, there were some people saying that just being skeptical about the whole thing and everything, and that's supposed to happen. If you're not going to have doubters or people who are saying the opposite things in your life, then then
Mhm.
you don't have any motivation. Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say motivation, but like basically like those people are meant to give you motivation and everything. You're supposed to
Mhm.
use that motivation not as things to put you down and be like, dang, I'm not going to do this anymore. No, like you got to believe in yourself, be confident in yourself so you can take
Mhm.
action. So I would just say, just wing it, go through with it. And if it works out, it works out, and you should put all your effort into it as if like you truly want to do this. So
Love it. Love it. And you were talking about skepticism. And I think you mentioned that your parents were a little bit skeptical that it was going to work as well. But then you had your dad watch some of the videos. He watched some of the videos on my channel and he kind of got convinced to do it. And he's like, all right, cool. I'll go 50-50 with it. And he kind of jumped in. So if anyone's watching this and your parents are skeptical, go ahead, show them this video, right?
yeah,
And maybe they won't be so skeptical anymore because Simeon went through the same exact issue with his parents were skeptical too. And yeah, it's like it's a new world, man. It's like college was a great thing for a long time. It was like an amazing thing because we had the ability to be educated and before colleges existed that didn't really exist. But now colleges are kind of outdated and in many cases like there's certain careers where colleges are still great but in many cases, there's a lot of careers out there where you do not need to go to college to get a job. You don't need to go to college to learn the skills. And it's basically just you're spending way more money and you're spending way more time and effort than you need to in order to land a job. And there's plenty of good jobs out there that don't require college. And I cover them on this channel all the time. So, just watch my channel if you don't know some of them. And digital marketing is one of my favorites, if not my favorite. So, yeah, there's lots of opportunities out there. So awesome. Is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, I feel like, we covered everything, the main thing is just to be confident in yourself, believe in yourself, don't let any people dissuade you from accomplishing this because it's an in-demand skill,
Mhm.
like like you could just sit down and just do the math. Like, would you rather, go to school and, go in all this debt to may or may not do this career and everything? Or would you want to spend like $650, however much the course is, to give it a try for 6 months and see if it works, because that's what I did with my parents. I sat down with them and, I felt like, they had belief in me, of course, like, they were skeptical because they never heard of this field.
Mhm.
They don't know what this field is, but like, I feel like because they had that belief in me to go through with this and, trusting my word and trusting that, I'm gonna just give this a try. The sky was the limit for me from there. So just believe in
Yeah.
yourself and you'll be okay.
Love it. All right. Well, Simeon, thank you so much for coming on the channel. This is a full circle moment. You discovered it through the channel, and now you're going to be on the channel. This will probably go out in maybe a week or two, something like that. And yeah, thanks so much for coming on the channel, man. And maybe we'll have you back in a few years. Maybe when you hit that six-figure mark, we'll have you back on the channel again.
Of course, I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Have a good one, man.